90.5 The Flava Station, Kristine on your radio. Consistently going viral for her creative visuals and jaw-dropping lyricism, OSlice has become known as a local DMV legend and internet phenomenon. With over 1 million views on social media and freestyles, this recognition has led to her sharing stages with Wale, Big Sean, Ari Lennox, and Rico Nasty. She's collected cosigns from the likes of Corday, Tierra Whack, and most recently, Rap Caviar, all without releasing a body of work. How are you today, Miss OSlice?
I'm doing good.
So my first question for you today is that earlier this year, you had an exclusive performance with Microsoft. Could you tell us a little more about that performance and what it was like?
Yeah, it was like they had like a little Black History Month program where they wanted to like spotlight some artists. So they had like a virtual paint and sip. So like I provided the musical entertainment for the evening, and I got to like show them a full range of just like different Black stories, which was really cool. And I got to also like highlight some other artists from the area. I did it with another artist named Kristine.
Okay, that sounds like a great experience. How was that? How was it, the feeling of getting this experience like? What was that like?
It was cool. I think this was like this might have been like I was gonna say the first like corporate thing that I've ever did, but I think it might be like the second. But it was really big because it was like, in the middle of the pandemic, it's like artists have been really struggling to figure out like where are we gonna where the bag is, how we're gonna sustain ourselves and all that. So I think that was like a really big eye-opening experience of like what my artistry could look like on like a bigger and broader field.
Okay, well, I'm glad you got to have this experience. And to talk more about your using Black voices and creating things for Black voices, I know that in 2016 you created a film called Far From Over. Can you tell us about some of the topics that were addressed in this film and why you felt it was important to create this project?
Well, in 2016, that felt like that was like a really big moment for racial conversations that were happening with all like the police brutality and stuff that was going on. Like, I mean, it's still happening now, but I feel like that was one of the like the biggest moments up until, this like until the murder of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. But at that point, it was like back-to-back incidents, and even the incident with Freddie Gray had happened. And, I'm from PG County. Baltimore is like 30 minutes away, and just kind of seeing the dialogue around that and just kind of feeling like I needed an outlet. So I used to write like a lot of poetry about it. So I wanted to add a visual component to the things that I was feeling and just encapsulate those emotions in something that would last.
Could you tell us when was the moment you knew you wanted to continue your career in rap?
I knew that it was something that I could do seriously. So when I was a kid, like for some reason, I never really had that like self-doubt period, if that makes sense. Like I always was like, I could be anything that I want in this world. So I just had to pick what it was going to be. And initially, I really thought I was going to be like a basketball player. I was just so sure that that's what I was going to be. And when my basketball career wasn't going, it wasn't going how I would have hoped it was going to go. I ended up winning a talent show at my school, and it was like Apollo Night style. So like with that being said, like the way that works is if you suck, they're going to boo you off the stage, and they're fully allowed to do that. So the fact that I won that as an underclassman kind of just showed me that like, okay, I have something here. I could really do this. And that was like my first like real show too. And it was like hundreds of people. And I feel like it was like 1,000 people in the audience. And like, yeah, and this is my first time and I won. So I was like, oh, okay, I got this. I got this.
Period. Oh, we love to see it. Man, I know what it's like because I'm actually a theater performance student, so I know what it's like to perform in a bunch of crowds. But to talk more about your time at the University of Maryland, can you tell us about like some of your experiences there, or what it was like growing as an artist there and during that time, just attending University of Maryland? I know it's no FAMU, but it's no FAMU. But what was it like while you were there?
The University of Maryland was actually super, super pivotal in my like growth as an artist. And I would say that because they had these things called juke joints. It was like, so the University of Maryland is a PWI, as you know. And but the good part about it is that the school is so big, the Black population is big enough to feel like a completely different school, So I was able to still like feel at home and not really like out of place at all. And it's in PG County, so like I always felt like I was at home when I was, within that community.
Mhm.
And so we had the juke joints, which is when all the Black students would get together and we would have like our talent show. And it was like more than a talent show because, you know, sometimes only like the artistic kids would be into that. But it was more so like, this is like the social hangout for the month. Like once a month, everybody's going to be there. Everybody's putting on their best fits. Everybody's coming through. Everybody's, you know, listening. And so I knew that that was every month. So every month I would be there, like giving them bars every month. Giving them bars,
Consistently.
just dropping talent on their heads every month. And so from that, of course, like my fan base like blew up, and then that kind of started traveling to other schools. And then next thing you know, I'm performing at like all the schools in the area in Virginia and DC and Maryland. And then it was just like oh, like now I'm a thing in the area, you know?
Mhm.
So that was, and it translated to after college, people are moving away from school and going to different states and then bringing the legend of OSlice to those states. So it's like, I really messed with what I would, the community at that school.
So you're coming from two cultural backgrounds as a proud Nigerian woman and a proud member of Prince George County, PG County. Can you
You're,
tell us more what it's like to be from two different backgrounds and like what was like being in that area?
so PG County is a magical place. I feel like not enough people in the world know what's going on over here, but PG County is a predominantly Black county, and like it's actually, I would say, like decently affluent. Like I think that we're the most affluent Black county in the United States. So like I grew up seeing Black doctors, Black lawyers, like people, Black excellence all the time, you know. And granted, you know, it's still some areas that are rough around the edges, you know, that just comes with it. But in general, like PG is very like culturally rich. And I feel like, especially when I got to college and I saw so many people who weren't from PG entering the space and being like, yo, I never had a Black teacher, or like, I never knew you know what I'm saying? Just not seeing Black people do well. It was just like, that's the standard, you know, like that's just what I know. So PG County is really popping artistically. The music, the scene is super diverse. Um, Sports wise, you know, we have so many athletes like in that play professionally from this area. The food is popping. It's, we dress the best, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just all that. PG County's all that, and especially like even if you want to open it up, the DMV in general is just super popping. I feel like people are starting to peep that now thanks to the internet, but like we've been, you know?
Yeah.
So I've always really loved being a part of that culture. And then being Nigerian is just like, I don't know a Nigerian who don't
Sprinkle.
love being Nigerian. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a very popping culture as well. So I feel like I've been blessed to grow up in two very culturally rich communities.
Okay. And so if I'm correct, you did grow up in Nigeria for a while or a part of
Now,
your time.
now, I moved when I was 2. So I
Moved
grew up in PG County and I've just been back a couple of times since, but I was definitely raised over here.
to get into more about your career, what motivated you or what motivates you and what motivated you to be here in this career? What motivates you today and what has always motivated you?
I think that, so I'm actually like naturally a very soft-spoken person, and like when I was a kid, it was like, you know, I have social anxiety. So like as a kid, I didn't really speak up, and like rapping when I was writing or when I was like, you know, that was the only time that I really felt confident initially. So even when, so I moved, I lived in a certain part of PG up until like the end of 5th grade. And then I moved to a brand new community starting 6th grade. So can you imagine like going to a school as like a, you know what I'm saying? You get to 5th grade and you're like, oh, I'm about to, you know what I'm saying? We about to be the bosses. We about to run the school. And imagine being the new kid in 6th grade. You know, everybody knows each other, and you're also about to go to middle school, so everybody's about to separate. So I remember feeling like, yo, like I'm about to be like super isolated, and I'm already a shy kid. And I remember what when I moved to the neighborhood, like, and I met some kids. Luckily, those kids were going to my elementary school. So after they got to know me a little bit, they were like, oh, like, do you have any like talents or whatever? And I said, I can rap. So then from then on, whenever they introduced me to somebody, they were like, yo, she can rap. She can rap. And then from there, just kind of like built, you know what I'm saying? Those are like the stepping stones. So like, I feel like rap helped me get out of my shell, helped me like gain confidence. And I feel like, you know, it's just even just like a mode of storytelling. I realize when I perform, it connects with people in a way that like, even if I'm having a regular conversation, I'm not sure if it would come across the same. So I feel like it's such a powerful tool in my journey and then in the journey that I can help other people along, you know? So that's why. this career path.
Hey, well, I love to hear that. I'm glad you have something that keeps you motivated, and that's what's keep you motivated because it stems from something from way back when. But to talk about other things about how your artistic things within your life. So I've seen that you have a show called Inner Circle. Could you tell us here at WANM? Can you tell everybody what Inner Circle is? What
Mhm.
do y'all do, and what do you hope to do by having this annual event?
Okay. So the inner circle, I made it when it was established in 2016, I believe. And essentially, I just didn't know what to do for my birthday. And I was just like, I don't really, And one of my friends was like, just do something that you would really enjoy, like maybe just do something artistic. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna put together like a little art showcase where I could like bring together the same people that would be at my birthday party, friends and family. And I kind of open it up to just like anybody who supports me. Come to this event. I'll show y'all what I've been working on. Cause at that point, I hadn't really released stuff on the internet. It was more so like people saw me at schools and people saw me like up, elementary school to college. So it was more so like a come see what I've been working on. Come, pull up. And from that, and I also like had a couple of artists that I liked come through and perform as well. And then from that, it just kind of grew into this like staple event in the DMV where people come. It's like OSlice and friends. I showcase other artists that I think are doing amazing things, and people just come, and it's like super intimate. Um, it's a concert, so it's like hype, but at the same time, it's like, we share stories. We like people do like different type of renditions of their music, and it's just like a really a beautiful like time to come together and just like highlight what this area has to offer, celebrate me a little bit, and I get to showcase new music.
Okay, well, that's great. I love that. And the artistic influence. But could you tell me about if you could describe art in PG County,
Mhm.
what word would you use to describe it and why?
Art in PG County
Black
is
art to be specific, not to, but
art in
to be
PG
specific.
County. Mm. The two words come to mind. If I had to pick one, I would say eclectic. I think that this area, because I was gonna say diverse, but I feel like they've kind of messed up the word diversity for me. So I would say eclectic because we have so many different scenes. I feel like in certain areas you kind of like you go there for that sound. And I think in this area, it's like, no, we have that sound, we have that sound, we have that sound, we have that sound that doesn't even have a name yet. So a lot of people are very experimental. We have people who can really rap. We have people who don't use any words in their music, but it sounds like rap. You know what I'm saying? It's just really cool, really experimental, really ahead of the wave, and super talented.
Do you ever consider bringing in artistic influences from maybe music that is in Nigeria, like that style of music, to your style of music, where we're based in it's a different audience you're hitting, but do
Mhm.
you ever pull influences from maybe that cultural base to your
Oh,
music
for
now?
sure. For sure. One of the first songs that like I became known for in this area was a song called African Booty Scratcher. And I wrote it, yeah, yeah. I wrote it when I was like a teenager. And I wrote it about like the experience of like feeling kind of funny about like not being self-confident in my culture, because there was a time when being African wasn't that cool. And
Yeah.
then writing a story about like how it's become this like, what I'm saying, not everybody wants to be African. So like I wrote a song about that, and I sampled one of the most popular like Nigerian songs. It's actually not a Nigerian song, but we kind of claim it. One of the most popular like African songs that there ever was. And so that's how I used to do it initially. And now I think I just have sounds that are directly influenced by like the current music in Nigeria. I just released a song in February called Sweet. And I feel like that was the first time I really let my audience know that, oh, I can do that. And I'm gonna keep doing it. But that was like the first little taste.
Okay, well, I'm glad you gave him a little taste. You said there's more to come. Can you tell me maybe some artists that inspire you?
Okay, there's a bunch. There's a bunch, especially because I've been making music since 2003. So it's like I've had my eyes specifically looking at these artists and kind of seeing what I could not necessarily take from them, but what like they a lot of influence. So I think my very first favorite rapper was Ludacris. And I just liked how like animated he was. I liked that he could like really rap, but it never seemed like he was trying hard to do it. It just seemed like he was just having fun. I like Ludacris a lot. His videos are crazy. Missy Elliott, um, Lauren Hill, all of them, Timberland. So those were like my very first like, influences. And then it went to Eminem because I felt like he was super technically skilled. Once again, the music videos were nuts. I'm really big into music videos. I like them a lot. And from there, it went to Lil Wayne. I feel like Lil Wayne was like my biggest influence just because the style of rap that I fell in love with is what he made. And then from there, it's like Drake. I love Drake.
All right. Yes, Drake. You know, everybody loves Drake. Come on now. But I want to ask you about, you have a video, if I'm saying this correct, the Ari's Reprise. I'm not
Mhm.
sure if it's Ari's Reprise.
Mhm.
So what went into, I see that you pulled a lot of songs, like, you know, certain songs into that one song. What went into creating that? And what made you want to tell that? Because it's almost like a story.
Mhm.
What made you, where were you when you were making this, actually? Where were you?
I was in like where I filmed it or where I was mentally.
Mentally.
Okay. I mean, funny enough, like literally I was in my bedroom. Like that was actually my room where we recorded that at. But mentally, someone had asked me for a feature, and he when I asked him what he wanted me to talk about, he was just like he made the song for his I believe it was his niece. And he was saying, if you were to write a song for your daughter, what would it sound like? And I was like, that's I was like, that's heavy, you know, like that's, and I never really thought about it like that. So like, instead of writing it specifically for my daughter, I kind of wrote it about what I would have wished that I heard when I was a kid.
Mm. Wow, that's great. And anyone who's heard this song, it's a beautiful song.
Thank you.
So it is, it's a great song. I love it. But could you tell me a little bit about your management hyperlearning, and how did you find yourself with them, and what do they mean to you?
All right, so higher learning is is a it's all good, it's all good. It's a collective that I made in high school. I just had a friend really notice what I was trying to do and tell me like, hey, like, you know, we can get organized, you know, if you want to have merch, if you want to do this and that, like, I think that we can just find people that we know who do these things and try to like, you know, get you a more organized setup. And initially it was more so like me and a couple of different artists, musical artists, but right now I'm the main artist and there's like, you know, just my friends, honestly. Like it's for us by us type of situation. So we are just trying to figure it out. And higher learning stands for heights you will eventually reach. So it's just about like getting together with your community, building laterally, but you know, going up with it.
Could you tell me what would be a dream collaboration for you?
A dream collaboration. My answer to this was always Kanye
Mhm.
because so in my head, it was always like, so I was thinking Beyonce or Kanye, right? For the same reason, actually, because I feel like sometimes as an artist, especially an independent artist on my level, I have these huge ideas. And if I don't really have the resources to get it done, either I don't do it or I do it on a way smaller scale. But Beyonce and Kanye have been the two artists that I've seen where it's like, yo, a budget don't matter. A budget don't matter. Things are gonna figure it, things gonna get done. And I've just always admired how like the artistic vision is never compromised for anything. So I would love to work with one of them, especially Kanye, because he's just been able to put together such amazing concepts. And you know, these are people that we grew up listening to. So I would go there first, even if they're not like, I mean, they're the biggest artists, but like, you know, most people would say somebody that's like, oh, I want to get on the charts, I want to do this, I want to do that. It's like, nah, like I want to make the best art that I could possibly make. And I feel like working with either of them would lead me to that.
Do you have any, is there creative influences, or growing up, did you have any creative influences in your family?
Ooh. I always like when people ask me questions that I've never been asked before. So that was a good one. Um, and I almost just said no because people in my family don't make music. I'm the only one that actively makes music right now. However, I was in a band with my cousins called the Little Cousins when we were kids, and we would perform at family functions. And me taking rap seriously started there because my sister and my cousin used to write the songs, and I was like, y'all, I feel like we can have some better songs. So like, if y'all don't mind, I'm gonna write the songs. And then I just kept writing songs. Like everybody else, they grew up and was like, yeah, music's not really my thing. And I was like, oh no, but it's mine. It's mine.
Now, if you were to go into a different aspect of art, whether it be like, I think poetry was mentioned.
Yeah.
Like, would you ever go into a different area if it wasn't rap?
Oh, that's the plan. Like I'm using rap. So rap is I want to say it's my first love, but I think it's my like truest love. So because I sang before I rapped, I wrote poetry before I rapped, so it's like rap is what, like, saying when it was up, it stuck, but I think that I have a lot of other interests. So I'm also using rap as a vehicle to get to those things. So I didn't know I had an interest in film until I needed to make a music video. Then I was like, oh, I love film, so that would be the first thing that I would do. I would direct videos for other people, not just myself. From there, saying like, I like fashion, I love streetwear. So, I'm going to use merch as an avenue to like get to, fashion. And beyond that, it's like, I'm in my music videos. From there, it's going to go, I'm not just acting in my music videos, I'm acting in television, I'm acting in movies. So it's like, it's really just I got this big map of things that I want to accomplish. And it just all starts with rap.
Okay. All right. And what advice would you give to someone else who wants to pursue a career in rap, or a younger individual that wants to pursue a career in rap?
I would just say, you just need to care about what you're doing. Initially it would have been something like, don't give up or like, really have some type of like conviction in your heart when you like move, because it can be really discouraging, and even though I do believe that, I think more so just kind of seeing the state of the rap industry right now and just seeing so many people who don't really understand the power of like art and music and what, influencing people, what that looks like, what that feels like, how like rap music and music in general just like changes lives, it saves lives, it can do all of these things. And I think people are really careless with that power. So I think that I just want the next generation of people who are trying to do this, and I'm saying next generation like I'm not in this generation, but next generation of people who are trying to do this should really care about what they do, because only the real is going to last, Yeah. All that other is here today and gone tomorrow,
Exactly. I just want to say thank you for this interview. This has been a great conversation I've been having with you today. Is there anything else you want to say to the people before you go?
Hey, I just want to say, like, shout out to Florida. Like, I'm in Maryland right now, and y'all are showing me love from Florida. Like, I don't. How did you even find me? It was the internet, wasn't it?
It was the internet. Yeah, just a little bit of the internet,
Yeah. I love it. So like, shout out to Florida, shout out to FAMU. All the fans that I have out there, like, thank you for showing me love. Like, it means the world to me, So thank you for having me. More music, more art, more cool stuff coming very soon. Tell your friends about me too.
Definitely will. Thank you so much. Thank you. And also, could you tell everyone where they can find you?
You can find me at my disorganized social media. It's Twitter is O_slice. Instagram is Flows Nice. That's FLOWSNICE. And at most places you can find me at Flows Nice. And all streaming platforms is my real name, so O-Slice.
The Flava Station.